Thank you everyone for joining us this evening for the finals of the VANTAGE Shark Tank competition. We have 4 teams. We started with over 30, so fun to see some different faces this year. Last year, when I looked to my left, it was all male, and this year it's more female than male, so that's a fun development. In the audience, I see some mentors and a lot of parents and students that are here to cheer on their peers. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you mentors for leaning into our program and helping make it possible. And finally, I want to thank our judges. They're contributing. They all contribute in many different ways. I see faces. They are project partners and mentors and guest instructors. And tonight they're judging. This is a big time commitment. They're here for a couple hours tonight, but they've also spent hours pouring through the business plans because in addition to the presentations that you're all going to see, there are business plans that are part of their judging and part of their selection process for picking the winners of the competition. So thank you all for your time and for joining us again this evening. And with that, I'm going to introduce one of the 2 teachers who ran this year's program, Ron Shark Tank, Mr. Scott Bailey.
We just want to thank you all for coming out. We're able to provide us these experiences because of community involvement, so we're very grateful for that, and we're excited for tonight. Just a brief background on the Shark Tank competition. All of our students, we have about almost 100 students enrolled in businesses this year. And back in September, still kind of uncertain what they had signed up for, they formed business plan teams. They then decided on an idea they felt was worth pursuing. Next came a lot of very hard work. Last week, they had outside professionals come in to coach them. And on Monday, we had round 1 and 2 of the Shark Tank competition. Out of 32 teams from the morning and afternoon group, we have 4 teams that are here with us tonight. And they are Optimi, Pork the Farm, Posh Pony, and Safe Stuffing. And this is the order they'll present.
Hello, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Kim Meehan. I'm one of the other instructors who've been working with students on their VP and microeconomics. We have been very fortunate to have wonderful judges volunteer their time to be with us today, so I'd like to introduce them. First, we have Ann Sen. She is a former Deloitte partner. She's an angel investor. She's worked with VANTAGE a lot. As a board member, she's been a guest instructor, she's been a judge. So we're very fortunate to have you, Ann. Thank you. Also here today we have Ben Marks, founder and chief investment officer of Marks Wealth Management. Working with VANTAGE a lot as a mentor, guest instructor, project sponsor, and a judge. So thank you, Ben, for being with us today. Pam Langseth, former president of Duke Holdings and the Minnetonka School Board. She's a board member at the Landscape Structures and Open Hands Foundation. Pam has worked with us as a mentor, a coach, and a judge. Thank you, Pam, for being here. Troy Rivers, CEO of Minneapolis Radiology and Minneapolis Vascular Physicians, working with us at VANTAGE as a mentor, a coach, and a judge. Thank you so much for the time that you helped us out with, Troy. Finally, we have David Stillman with us here today, best-selling author and co-founder of Gen Guru Agency, working with us at VANTAGE quite often as a project sponsor, mentor, guest instructor, and a judge. So thank you, David, for being with us today. So we are going to be seeing 4 presentations today. The presentations will each last 12 minutes. Students will be cut off at the 12-minute mark. After each presentation, judges will have the opportunity to ask 1 question, and students will respond to those questions.
The judges will be scoring based on 3 principal criteria. That is the idea, the plan itself, and then the pitch.
And at the very end, not only will we have the judges' scores to determine the winner of Shark Tank, but we're also going to have the People's Choice Award. So at the very end, of the competition, we will be giving every audience member the opportunity to vote on their favorite, on whatever criteria you are choosing. The winner of the People's Choice Award, the winning team, will have the opportunity to have lunch with Mr. Andre and Mr. Erickson. So very excited. And this may be a surprise. The winner of Shark Tank will also have that opportunity to have lunch with Mr. Andre and Mr. Erickson as well. So high stakes.
And because we always believe, in VANTAGE, we always believe student involvement is the best, we would like to invite the winner from Shark Tank last year, which was Clearwater. We'd like to invite Clearwater to come down and just say a few words about their experience, and then to kick off the event tonight. So thank you guys for being here.
Well, good evening. My name is William Pears. This is Harry Kevin, and this is Austin Roberts, and we are excited to get kicking off the night.
I can tell you from experience that these kids are very excited and probably very nervous to present their ideas tonight. But they've been working on these business plans for months. They're very well written. Their presentations are very practiced. We got the opportunity to watch a few of them present to us, and we know that they're very sharp kids. So we're excited.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say that this was our favorite project throughout our high school career so far. And it definitely inspired us to study business next year at college and to do VANTAGE again this year. So without further ado, here's Otley.
So hello everybody, we are Opmi. So just to put you into like the frame of mind, I'd like to start off with a personal question. So are you perfect? Most people would answer that question with no. So because of that, self-help is born. Self-help is essentially just trying to improve yourself to achieve your goals and to have a better life. So to do this, I am Mary Schuler. I'll be the head developer at Opmi.
I'm Caleb Lemke, I'm the lead designer.
And I'm Josh Mills, and I'm the marketing lead.
So to start out off, I'd like to say our ask, which is $115,000 for 20% stake in our company. This will be enough to get our upfront cost for year one, and then you will be making this money back in 3 years and 7 months, according to our conservative estimates. So meet Tom here. Tom is a college student, and he is taking many classes. He has a lot of homework, and he is very overwhelmed. He has made two goals, essentially. And one is to reduce his procrastination so that he can do better in college, and then another one is to improve his relationship with his girlfriend. Because of that, he has decided to turn to self-help. He made a New Year's resolution, but according to Forbes, 92% of New Year's resolutions fail, and he is one of those people. So he has failed, first of all, because he didn't really have much direction, and also because he wasn't able to form any lasting habits. The second thing he did was books. Self-help books are a booming industry. They are worth billions of dollars, around 3.2, and many of these books he could have tried, but they can take a long time to read. So they can be 300 pages, which can take like 10 to 15 hours to read, which really could take him months. Which is why this is an unrealistic option, and by the time he finishes, he'll probably forget most of the stuff he read at the beginning of the book.
This brings us to solution 3, which are apps, which are very less time consuming than reading a book or reading other articles or self-help resources. A couple of these other apps are CoachMe, Calm, and Eupher. And this is Opmi's positioning related to these alternatives at the moment. We'll be starting with CoachMe, and they are $249 per month self-help website that helps you get in contact with a coach to help you figure out your goals and habits and complete those. And they are the most expensive alternative, and we base this positioning map off of expensive or price and efficiency. We base efficiency off of reviews off of websites, the app stores, the reviews of customers, and off of forums. This brings us to Eupher, which is a $13 per month AI-based emotional help, self-help app. And this helps you with your emotional health and creating those goals. And an example of a core self-help app is WellTrack. It is a $9 per month. And it has very low reviews, and it's not a very good app. And then this brings us to Calm, which is by far the most popular self-help app at the moment, which focuses on meditation, is roughly $6 per month. And it has over 50 million downloads. It's number 34 on the most popular apps on iOS App Store. And then with OpMe, we will be $5, and we are a resource self-help-based app that will provide you with resources that are summarized and will hopefully be more efficient and lower cost than all the other alternatives.
So to introduce you to OpMe, I'll just give a brief overview. So OpMe is a self-help app that takes self-help resources such as books, videos, articles, and more from experts, and then takes that and summarizes it, and then gives you goals and habits that you can be reminded on your phone. That your phone will notify you. So to show this,
This brings us to our UVP. With the OpMe, you easily achieve your habits and goals based on articles and books and more. Learn concepts in minutes, create custom create custom goals and habits in seconds. With OpMe, self-help is easy and effective.
to better show this, I created a prototype of an app as a head developer, which you guys can pass around and also follow along with us on the screen. So I'll start you here. So if you tap here, you can you'll be introduced to a main page that has different books. Now this is just a prototype, so not all the functions are there, but I created one example, which is with Talk Like TED. So if you tap on that, you can see an page that has a summary of the actual book and then some key points. Now if you tap on, for example, the first key point, which is be passionate, you can see the habits that key point has. So with there, you can research an idea, you can do stuff like that, and then you can add different goals like I did with the first one. Now if you go to the bottom and hit My Planner, you can see the habits and also the goals. And there's and then you can see the one that we have there. In the future, you'll be able to tap the calendar icon, and that will allow you to set the time for you to be notified when to do your habit or goal. So here's an update with Tom. If you, hypothetically, if you use our app, you will become a world famous actor.
So this brings us to the self-help industry as a whole. The self-help industry falls under the health and wellness industry. It's a $4.2 trillion industry. And then the self-help market itself is $11.7 billion, and self-help apps make up just $27 million of that. The total market, our target market is people in the U.S. Ages 19 through 34, so millennials. And then 94% of millennials have made some sort of self-help commitment. So that is 55 million U.S. citizens. And if we have less, a tenth of a percent of people, we will still have 55,000 users, and we hope to reach that by year 2. Here's our marketing overview. As you can see, over time it shifts more from traditional social media marketing to influencer marketing, as well as a little mix of organic in there as well. Social media marketing is what you will traditionally think of when you think of marketing on social media. This is your ads before YouTube videos, your promoted posts on your Instagram page. 64% of millennials say that they have become interested in a product or company based on a promoted ad on Instagram.
And then the main goal of this is to create brand awareness, which is why we're starting out with this and then transitioning later.
Influencer marketing is the newest form of marketing that we'll be implying. It has a 5% return on investment, as always. And 90% of companies say that it is comparable to or better than traditional forms of marketing. We've done some research on some influencers that we might like to partner to, and one of these is called the Improvement Pill. And then organic marketing, that's just having a website, having a Facebook, Instagram page. Here you can see we've made a little mock Instagram page with what we might post.
Okay, so here's a user overview of the amount of users we might have. So as you can see here, this is our total amount of downloads here. And we're expecting year 1 to have just over 1,000, and then by year 3 to have nearly 250,000. This is based on our acquisition cost of 75 cents. This is this is a conservative estimate of what most marketing budgets will, or marketing strategies will generally have. And then here's our active users, because there's a difference between the amount of people who use our app and the amount of people who download it, because people can uninstall it and just stuff like that. So a general retention rate is around 30%, which is why when we have 100,000 here, we'll have 33,000. And then on the right, you will see, on your right, you will see premium users, which is around 10% generally of the amount of free users we have. So that will be around 3,300 and go up to 7,000 by year 3. Our revenue streams include premium subscription, which is $5, as we said before, and then advertisements in-app for free users. So we are expected to make 91% of our revenue from subscriptions, and then 9% from advertisements. And then just to visualize the numbers, so year 1 we will be making nearly $100,000 from premium subscribers, and then 16,000 from ads, and then that will go all the way up to 676,000, and then 54,000 respectively. And then for costs, our main cost will be our salary, which, and then also, advertising, and then app development. These are also very accurate numbers, especially app development, if you want to go through that later in questions. And other costs is beta testing, and also ASO, which is SEO for apps.
So this brings us to our financial overview, or 3-year summary. By year 1, we will be down $97,000, and by the end of year 2, we'll be positive $93,000, and by the end of year 3, we'll be over $317,000.
And just to give you an estimate of our 5-year summary, we will be focusing after the first 3 years, we'll be focusing on attaining users, and then years after that, we will be focusing on getting free users to become premium users. Many apps such as Spotify have been able to do this because Spotify now has nearly 50% of their users are premium users. So we're going to try to create this. So here we have 3 different types of graphs. So after year 4, the lowest one is a conservative estimate, which would be gaining 100 new active users a month, and then also just 10% like before of our premium users. And then likely estimate would be more like 500 new active users a month, and then 15% would be our premium users, and then optimistic would be 1,000 new users a month, and then at 20% of users being premium.
We will be distributing Omni through 2 sources, the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store. To put an app on the iOS App Store, it is $99 per month, and the Google Play Store is $25 up front.
And then just to give a quick overview of our legality, in order for us to be legal, with summaries, all we need to do is just create our own unique version, which we will be able to do, our own unique take on their ideas that the authors create. So that will be done through creating our habits and goals, which is how we will avoid copyright. And then as an exit strategy, we are expecting...
Being your time has expired.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Let me finish. This is the questions.
Please do. Well done, guys. It's good to hear your job, what you're suggesting. It's fun to hear your story. When I listen to what you're talking about, what it seems to me is the key thing is the content that you're going to curate. And I don't understand how you're going to get the content. Could you talk a little bit about how you're going to do that, or what your thoughts are about that, and then how you're going to make sure that the quality and what they're presenting meets what you want to have for your people, your users?
So the main thing that we will be doing is we will be taking like the popular books, because there are many self-help books, and then there are also like many of them are best-selling. So as far as content goes, we would be taking a lot of the top-selling books, and we'd be creating the summaries off of that. And to make sure that we are creating content that people enjoy, these experts have a lot of information about what people need to do to improve themselves, but a lot of it can obviously, as we said before, be lost. So by having it notified, we can help people develop the habits, and then to answer your question, to make sure that they're doing what they want, the content that they like, we will be kind of using a wide variety of habits and goals, and then we can see which ones are most successful and most used, and then curate that. Yeah.
Great job, guys. Love that. All right, I'm sold on self-help. I'm sold on the app. I'm sold on how you're marketing it. I forgot your name right here.
Marius?
Marius, you got me halfway there because I'm with you on content. So you're going to take all these experts' contents out there and we got caught up again. The legal part is you're saying we got our own entity and we wrote our own content on tips, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you're legal, not copywriting. Okay, so as an expert, and maybe you're going to write some on generations, you would then take a book like mine, you're going to read it, you're going to say, you don't have to go read those 300 pages, here's some tips. Got it. Okay, I buy that, but so you're looking at your management and staffing, you've got developers, you've got designers, and you've got marketers. Got it, so who's doing the piece that's going to take content like mine and turn it into helpful tips? I love what you're doing, and as a content expert, if I like the person doing it, I'm all for it. But I'd have a hard time if, a developer, a designer, and a marketer were the ones taking hard thought-out content that's been scientifically proven, et cetera, and just throwing out some random tips. So you got to get me there on content.
Okay, so with content, first of all, Mr. Merrily, he actually volunteered to write some of our content. And he said he did that for free, so that's how we avoid that in costs.
Big picture. Where's the staff piece to get that done? I like it, but I think you got to look at your staffing to have those people, creating the content. I just don't think I'm just not sold how you're creating the content yet.
Okay, so there are many different apps, and there are many places to see summaries that are already exist. Instead of also reading all those books, we can also take those summaries and then put that into our own words, and then create our habits and goals to make ours unique and to avoid the copyright.
Okay, so we went down the content side. Can you help me with the user side of this? Have you tested this concept with some of your target market, and how? So I'd like to understand that. And then how are you going to get them excited about going from freemium to premium?
So, can you repeat the first question?
The question was, have you tested the concept with any of, anybody who's in that target market? And then how will you get them from being freemium into premium? So tested the concept at the freemium level, tested the concept at the premium level, right?
So personally, my brother's a millennial, and I've talked to him a bunch about how he's out of a job now, he's working full time, and he's really just kind of overloaded with work. He's working 60 plus hours per week. He's kind of needing off time or some time to maybe work on his time management. So I personally talked to my brother, and he's seen and had experience with not having enough time in his day possibly because he's getting distracted or whatnot. So he'd like to see a better option than reading books, or maybe using a different app that can help him directly with what he needs, which is time management. And then to answer your second question about saying from free to premium, so for our free version of our app, there's going to be limited features and limited amount of books that the user is able to access. So with that, hopefully then they'll see the potential in our app to then buy the premium version.
First one, an easy one here, and great job, guys. Everybody else in the room probably knows this, but what does UVP stand for?
Unique value proposition.
Got it. You didn't read that. You knew that, didn't you? So you mentioned that the single largest expenses are salaries. Or salaries. I'm presuming that means the three of you. The three of you. And what is that number?
So for year one, we all agreed that we'd be willing to take less money so that we would be able to have our costs be less. So that would be $90,000, so $30,000 each. And then by year 4 and 5, we will be each being paid a total of $240,000. So $80,000 each.
And what will you be doing? Do you have your job responsibilities? You sort of have that figured
we
out?
have it in our first page.
Okay. Well, what each one of you going to be doing? Okay. Okay. And will you gentlemen be the ones that, the question is about, reading the books, figuring out the key points and loading the content? Is that you guys doing that work?
Yeah, we will be taking part in that work, and then Mr. Mayor will
will
also be helping us.
All right. Thank you. Good job.
Thanks, guys. I love the concept. I have so many needs and I have so many questions, but I've been told I can only ask one. So I'm going to ask a two-part question. The first part is on your positioning map. You were low cost, high efficiency, I seem to recall. I get the cost part, easy to control. How are you going to prove to the end users that you are more efficient? And by that I presume you mean we're going to increase that 8% success rate to something higher vis-a-vis your biggest competitor call.
So will eventually in the final product of the app, we would like to involve when the user first boots up the app, they'll be able to check different topics of self-help. Maybe it's you want to exercise more, you want to eat healthier, you want to work on your time management, procrastination, and topics like that. And they'll be able to check those boxes to then see, and then they'll narrow down what resources we'll give them for summaries, and that'll be very efficient for them to directly narrow down what they want instead of seeing so many broad self-help topics that they might not be able to find instantly without.
And then again, I said this quickly before, but we will be able to track how successful certain habits and goals are, so we could definitely promote those. And then that would also be able to see what kind of habits and goals people are successful with, and then that can help us create research, obviously how to increase that 8% success rate.
And this is probably last part B is on behalf of all of the sharks here. You had an EBITDA of $375,000 in year 3. You've valued the company at a little over $500,000. What's your exit strategy? How and when am I going to get my money back? Or are we going to get our money back?
Yeah, year 3, month 7 is obviously when you will be getting your money back. And then as far as exit strategy is, we put 3 potential companies that would be able to buy us out. So number 1, obviously being Calm in the middle. It's the biggest one, and they're the market leader by quite a bit. And they definitely focus mostly on meditation and relaxation, but we think that they might be interested in expanding into more self-help topics. And then Happify is another company and an app that is based on creating habits. And it's similar to CoachMe, but except for it doesn't really have the personal coaches. And it's just a current habit-based self-help company. And then Shine is the last one where it also similarly walks you through different self-help topics, and then takes you through almost like a journey, step-by-step, how you can improve on different things. And we think just having, we could be very useful to their company, as we could put some more expertise on a lot of the stuff that they have and offer, and then also we can help them. We can also help them have more information, more topics, because we also have more information.
Thank you very much, guys.
Good job.
I doubt it's even like, it's more like 720. Or no, 1080.
Good evening, Sharks. We are Forks to Farm, a waste management service for schools and other businesses, while also providing nutritional foods for pigs.
And today we are here to provide you with an opportunity that can lead to 20% return on your investment just within the first 2 years.
Imagine you are back in elementary school. You have just finished eating your lunch and still have extra leftovers. Banana peel, bread, spoon. You walk over to dispose of these items and you so badly just want to throw them in the trash and move on to your next class. But then you see a picture of Jimmy the pig, a pig that your school sponsors and you've also visited through Forks to Farm. You decide to then correctly sort your items to ensure that Jimmy has the best food possible. My name is Josie Kitzman, and I'm the Director of Operations and Communications.
I'm Hamna Tadessa, and I'm the Director of Graphic Design and Marketing.
You might be wondering, what is Forks to Farm and what are you investing in? Our first step of our process is to answer any questions that our potential customers may have.
So once we have officially partnered with our school or business, we determine how much food waste they produce. We then officially kind of become like matchmakers, similar to eHarmony, but for schools. We help them find their perfect match. We determine how much food waste the schools produce and connect them with a hot farm that has a similar feed demand level as the supply of food from the school. Next, we provide them with an appropriate size bin and a pickup schedule for the waste. Then our truck drivers are going to take the waste from the schools or businesses and bring it to our warehouse located in Minneapolis, where our trained sorters are going to sort through the food to make sure the safety of the pigs.
Finally, the food is then delivered to the farmers where the sustainability cycle is complete.
So we have identified 3 opportunities that we believe will create a demand for Forks to Farm today. Our first opportunity is found in Hennepin County schools. According to Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, Minnesota K-12 schools produce an estimated amount of over 480,000 tons of waste per day. This is a huge amount, and it is a recognized problem in the school district. However, over 50% of those waste can more effectively be managed with food waste recycling system. The second opportunity that we have found is a new ordinance taking place in Hennepin County. It states that as of January 1st, 2020, all businesses, including nonprofits, commercial businesses, and public entities that produce 1 ton of trash must have an organic recycling system in place.
Our third opportunity is the increase in hog farm production in Minnesota. Minnesota is now ranked number 2 in the amount of hogs produced in the country. This leads to that there are a ton of pigs to feed, leading for a large opportunity for Forks to Farm.
In addition, we are passionate about finding a positive solution for food waste because through our experience in the restaurant industry, we've seen how much food simply just gets thrown away without a thought.
On to our solution. Forks to Farm helps businesses get rid of food waste in a sustainable manner while also providing hogs with nutritional feed.
In addition, businesses and schools who partner with us can save up to $12,000 per year.
Does anyone know the common trend, farm to fork, or know that eating locally sourced foods is a common thing? Here at Forks to Farm, we complete that sustainability cycle by giving back to the farmers who give so much to us. Next is our target market. Our first target market is the school districts within Hennepin County. There are 195 schools alone in Hennepin County. We first plan to partner with school districts as a whole, as we believe that we can grow at a faster rate while partnering with school districts rather than individual schools. First, we plan to partner with Minnetonka Public School Districts as we have a connection.
Our next target market is composed of hog farms within a 60-mile radius from Hennepin County to reduce our gas costs within the first year. We have actually contacted the Eupher farm, which is highlighted with the green pin, and they have stated that they'd be interested in partnering with us. So we plan to have them as our first customer and match them with Minnetonka Public School District. So our first target consumer persona is Minnetonka Public School District. The school district values sustainability and wants to have a point of differentiation from other school districts to make them number 1. They're already compost, however, they're looking for a cheaper option to as well as one that is more community-based and has educational opportunities. Ron, the hog farmer, is the owner of Eupher Farms, and he's interested in partnering with Minnetonka school districts. First, because he wants to provide nutritional feed that's going to increase the value of his sites, as well as provide educational opportunities for younger generations interested in sustainability. So for market size, we have found that there are 2,403 public schools in Minnesota. 195 of those schools, as mentioned before, are located in Hennepin County, and 13 of those schools have already implemented organic recycling systems, however not similar program to ours. So we estimate that we have 8% of the market share in Minnesota. For hog farms, as mentioned earlier, we're focusing on the 60-mile radius, and we have identified 17 farms that we believe have similar interests as Pork to Farm, and we estimate that we have 50% of the market share because there aren't many products for hog farmers existing similar to the ones that we've tried from Pork to Farm.
You may be wondering, what are we charging our customers and how we are going to get our money? First, we have bins, a 2-yard bin, a 4-yard bin, and a 6-yard bin. We will be charging our 2-yard bins at $83 a month, our 4-yard bins at $126 per month, and our 6-yard bins at $168 per month, which is drastically lower than our competitors. Next, our hog feed, we will be charging 25 cents per pound, which is, again, way less than our competitors, which are roughly charging around 50 cents per pound, while also just supplying these farmers with corn, whereas we are supplying nutritional feed. Pork to Farm has 3 main competitors: Waste Management, Randy's, and Barthold Inc. Waste Management and Randy's, you may have heard of them, they're large companies. However, they charge a super high price for their service. Barthold Inc.
It's where farmers seek out the foods themselves. However, Pork to Farm can be the
Uber Eats from schools to farms, leaving Pork to Farm to be the best option out there at the cheapest price and the most environmentally friendly. Pork to Farm also has an educational opportunity to offer. We partner schools with pigs, with farms, for educational purposes, for field trips and other resources.
So to connect with our customers, we have 4 forms of promotion in plan. Our first plan is to create a website. Once our website is established, we plan to have it linked under the new under a page called Organic Recycling for Organizations and Businesses on the Hennepin County website. And then for hog farmers, we have found a website called National Hog Farmers. We want to have it linked under the animal health and feed tabs. Our next form of promotion is stickers and window decals. As you can see in front of you, we have made stickers that we believe schools can pass out to their students and staff, and that's one form of promotion. And we plan to create window decals similar to TripAdvisor so that when we expand to restaurants and other businesses, they can put in the window to display that they partnered with us and value sustainability.
Our third form of promotion is the Pork Congress. This Congress is hosted every year in Minneapolis, where many hog farmers come and gather to learn more about what other people are doing in the hog world. We plan to be there. It's almost like a trade show to educate people on our feed and to spread the word of Pork to Farm. We also plan to use word of mouth, as we believe that farmers will be communicating between each other as well as the school districts.
So as mentioned earlier, we each have our specific positions, but we plan to collaborate on the parts of sales representatives and trainers. And we are planning to hire sorters to sort through the food to make sure it is safe for the pigs and any animals that will consume it, as well as truck drivers to transport the food waste from the schools or businesses and then to our warehouse and eventually the hog farms.
This is our profit and loss statement. We divided it quarterly as we believe that we can show you an easier view of our profit and loss. In quarters 2 and 3, that has the summer months, June, July, and August, where we will be receiving a little bit of less income. However, we filled that need with adding a restaurant as well as partnering with EP and YZeta, half and a half amount, as we believe that we want to start integrating them during the summer months prior to the school year. So that makes up for the cost, and then you can see in quarter 4 how we drastically grow while we have Minnetonka, EP, YZeta, and a restaurant. This is our cost overview for year 1. It breaks up into contingencies, one-time costs, and monthly costs. And we want to show you how we are going to be breaking this down. We have our main warehouse cost, like Hannah said, it is in Minneapolis, and it is large. It's where we can have our sorters, where we can have our trucks, where we have everything we need, and so that is our biggest cost, as well as our employees.
So this is our 3-year profit projection. As you can see, we will be in the red the first year. However, once the farm grows and gets out, we believe that we will be able to grow at a faster rate. And you can see here we grow at an even faster rate because we're planning to partner with bigger school districts like Minneapolis and Anoka, and eventually expand outside of Hennepin County, maybe even across the country. And we believe that we will grow even exponentially after that. So today we are asking for $200,000 in exchange for 20% of that. You might be asking where we're valuing our company at $1 million. The answer is that we've consulted with a head venture capitalist from Redstone Venture Capital. He advised us that while Farm-to Farm might have a slow growth in the beginning, once we have established our company, we will be able to grow at an exponential rate while making a significant amount of profit and providing a service that can make a big difference in our earth. So we can prove to you that your investment is working.
Thank you so much. Let's work together to fill up this piggy bank.
I'm going to ask the question that's on, I'm sure, everybody's mind here. How in the world do you know so much about hog farms? And how do you know, what was his name, Ron? Ron, how do you know Ron? You know, how'd you get him already on your in your camp on this?
So we did a ton of research. We went into this hoping to do something possibly more with composting. However, we found that there's an even better method to recycle this food in a better way that's also helping these farmers. So we did a ton of research, like a lot.
And Ron isn't actually the name of the hog farmer we're sure sharing his name exactly, but we did contact the farm and we talked to them, and they said that if we come to them that they would make a profit and have lower costs if they use our feed instead. They would definitely be interested in partnering with us.
Can you talk a little bit about the feed and how much feed? Because when I think about schools are open, as you said, 6-9 months a year, and you've got 3 months they aren't. But pigs eat a lot every single day.
Right.
So how do you adjust based upon that? You talked a little bit about some restaurants and that, but how are you going to keep that flow of food going, and what do you have to do to make it feed?
So we decided that, so we looked at the months and we're like, okay, there's summer months, we need to figure this out. We can't just forget the farmers for those 3 months and then partner up with them again. That's not going to create good values that Farm to Farm has. So we decided to, like we said, add a restaurant to also help with that feed level, so we're not leaving those farmers behind, while also integrating and starting up 2 other schools, so that within the next year, they are already set up and ready to go.
Yeah, and we understand that schools would still produce less during the summer month, but we plan to have one of our smaller size bins at each of the schools, where during the school year we have like a size appropriate to the amount of school. Like the high schools would have the biggest size, and then the elementary schools would have the smallest size.
There's still many events that happen at these schools, summer school, athletic events, all these things that are still producing waste, so they can't just not have a waste management system, so that's where we come in. And then as for our feed, like we said, we sorted through. It's basically just like compost. Yes, pigs can eat banana peels. Farmers like giving it to their pigs. It has high energy. So it's basically just this food that's uneaten. We sort through to make sure there's no glass. However, we are putting some trust in these students to learn and to find dignity within themselves in sorting, but we're just there for like backup causes. And then we take that and there's no packaging, there's nothing, we just dump it in the trough, let them eat, they love it.
Full disclosure, I grew up on a hog farm. Great idea, great presentation, ladies. So there's regulatory requirements. I suspect you haven't have that all figured out, but what kind of research have you done? I imagine there's some EPA, there's some food related regulations. Tell us a little bit about the homework you've done there.
So we found out through this website, thanks to Ms. Meehan, because she's the teacher of sustainability, so she has a little insight for us. We found out that there are actually grades between the types of farms, so like grade A, grade B, kind of like eggs almost. And so we would decide that
we're going to focus on like the grades that would accept the type of food that the feed that we're providing, as well as on the Hennepin County website, on the page that I mentioned, they have a link to a PDF that just kind of describes their requirements for what they eat and they can't eat, and there's different laws depending on the state, but we plan to sort it accordingly to what Minnesota.
I also just wanted to add that we also will be, this is just like for now, the sorting the grades. We hope to expand to all grade levels of farmers, as well as possibly hiring more sorters in the future to more specifically and more carefully sort through so that we can provide feed for other animals, because there's so many more animals out there that we can also reach.
Thank you.
While I didn't grow up on a hog farm, I do have a wife who's infatuated with pigs. And if she knew I had an opportunity to invest in this in the past, I'd be in the doghouse, so you had me at Jimmy. I'm going to get into the weeds a little bit. You had $180,000 of revenue and an $80,000 loss in year one. You referenced $165,000 or so margin in year three. On what revenue base, and what percent of your year three expenses are variable? So what was the revenue for year three, and what percent of your expenses are variable?
For this one, or the profit and loss?
This is what we project for year three.
Yeah, and we project the increase to that amount in year three because we plan to expand in school districts, and we believe that we're going to be able to expand at a much larger rate once we get into contact with them. And I believe that more the school districts that are more bigger, like Minneapolis and Minnesota, just within them there's like 40 schools just within one of them. So that's the reason why
we can grow at this exponential rate.
Yeah.
But is that on $500,000 of revenue or $750,000? How much revenue? I'm just kind of trying to get a sense of what the growth is from $180,000 to year
Yeah. That's a good question. We have our other financials posted given.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
We have like a spreadsheet. We're not able to answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to like provide you with false info.
Okay, so I just need to break down my investment here a little bit. You're saying fork to farm. It's really fork to pig and fork, because you're going to hog farms, right?
Right. Hopefully all farms in the future within like all the animals.
Okay. I kind of like what you're saying, this idea that we're going to teach kids about waste, and when you told me 480 pounds, I was like, whoa, that's a lot, and kind of like got me excited. There's sort of the social value underpinning, and then in there like, we want to help farmers because they've helped us, sort of thing. Well, these hog farmers are making a ton of money. These are big businesses. So help me understand where my drive is to help them. But the other thing too is, I love what you're doing. Have you maybe thought, maybe not hog farmers? I mean, does it have to be them? I love the idea of collecting the waste. And I love that. And what you're doing, the educational piece, I'm sort of like, oh, hog farmers are making a ton of money. So like, you lost me on the social part there. So help me understand that.
Well, as Rosie said earlier, we were talking about the 10 farms before, and just eating locally. So we wanted to focus on the idea that it's kind of a cycle where the farmers provide food locally, and then that food ends up going back to those farms.
But they make money at it.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well also, this can like benefit you because so like grass-fed beef or whatever it may be, what these pigs eat is what they taste like, and we know we are all like consumers and living on this earth, so this is like a good way to cycle this waste.
And to the second part of the questions, we wanted to expand to other animals and other types of businesses as well. We just decided to focus on hog farms and schools in the beginning just to make it easier because through our research we found that there's different aspects to the target markets that we were researching, and it just kind of got like bigger and more confusing, so we thought it kind of needed to explain.
Right, I love it, but I think, maybe look at it as a really profitable business rather than a non-profit undertone.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi Sharks, we are the Posh Pony, an organic horse treat company. We are seeking $10,000 in exchange for a 10% equity stake in our company, and we will be using these funds both for marketing as well as developing our e-commerce website.
Again, Sharks, my name is Laura Roman, and I will be running the operations and marketing portion of the Posh Pony.
And I'm Allie Matson. I'll be focusing on finance as well as investigating our competition.
And the final member of our family, who obviously could not be with us tonight, is my horse Dan, who helped spark the idea of the Posh Pony. So Sharks, I bet you're wondering, why horse treats? It started with my brother, who is sitting a few rows behind you, and has special needs and the only child in the world with his disease. He learned how to sit up and walk from back and forth. 7 years ago, I started riding, and a year and a half ago, I got my first horse, Dan. Since then, Dan and I have a daily routine in which a big part of it is giving treats. Since Dan is a member of our family and my partner, we always want a little benefit him. So I started doing some research of my favorite treat brands, and I learned I couldn't recognize or pronounce most of the ingredients, which troubled me. So I figured, instead of searching for the unsearchable, a fully organic horse treat, why not just make one? So 7 months ago, the Posh Pony was born, and since then, it has flourished from a fun thing I did in my spare time to a small side business that we now have. And since then, we've been asked by the Minnesota Hunter-Gatherer Association to donate a treat basket for their annual charity silent auction.
And Sharks, unlike Laura, I have no past experience with horses. However, when she approached me with this idea, I saw the huge opportunity that the Posh Pony has found, and I knew I had to jump on board. And since doing so, I've been to the barn multiple times and have become part of the Posh Pony family.
Meet Vicky. She's a 37-year-old adult amateur rider located in Medina, Minnesota. Vicky is always looking for ways to strengthen her bond with the horse, but constantly struggling with understanding the ingredients in her treats, just like I did. Vicky is excited to try the Posh Pony treats because they provide an organic alternative that are visually appealing to her equestrian eye.
Meet Hannah and Emma. Hannah is a young and rising equestrian who's always looking for fun and exciting ways to add to her riding experience. For her, it's the visual appeal of our treats that really entice her. And for Mom Emma, it's the ingredients that get her on board as well.
In the current market, equestrians are facing the issue of their treats having ingredients that are unrecognizable, are inorganic, and they have a dull visual presentation to the equestrian eye. We are the first organic treat to enter the market.
So our solution is exactly what you see in front of you. And that is a treat that is 100% organic, visually appealing, and can help enhance the bond that a horse forms with their equestrian. So we will be sourcing all of our organic ingredients in bulk to be most cost effective, and if you look on page 2 of the handout that we gave you, you can see an exact cost breakdown of how much each ingredient costs us per package of 36. Now aside from ingredients, our treats are shaped like mini donuts, something that Hannah, Vicky, you or I would enjoy, making them more personal and therefore helping bond the equestrian to the horse. And by being the first treat to market encompassing all of these together into one treat, we will be able to not be harmed by any potential threats that come with the same idea trying to mimic our brand because of the trust and loyalty that we will have gained with our customers.
We first plan to develop an e-commerce website in which our customers will be able to view our treats, select a sizing option, and purchase them while paying a small shipping fee for the United States Postal Service to deliver their items. We then also plan to use pop-up shops in the Midwest Minnesota area, and these will be located at equestrian competitions and events, providing another outlet for our treats to be distributed.
We will be targeting consumers like Hannah, Vicky, and Emma. To do this physically, we will have pop-up shops throughout the Midwest and Minnesota area. The market in Minnesota is 29,000 horse owners, but if we want to reach our larger market of 2.1 million horse owners nationwide, we will be using our online e-commerce store. And overall, originally, we hoped to obtain a 1% market share and have that number grow exponentially as we grow our brand recognition.
We plan to spread the word first through search engine optimization, which we'll utilize through our website in order to hope to gain more customers through this platform. We also will use social media. Our social media will be used to interact with our customers, post updates of sales and events, and most importantly, share pictures of fellow equestrians and the Posh Pony owners using the treats daily. We also will be using pop-up shops, as we mentioned before, and these will be located at events such as the Minnesota State Fair and the annual Harvest Show located at the Minnesota State Fair grounds. These pop-up shops located at these events will provide equestrians with a personal interaction with the treats, letting them hold them in their hands and look at them rather than just seeing them through a screen on our website. We finally plan to use word of mouth. Since the equestrian community is so tight-knit, when one equestrian recommends a product to another, we take that very highly because it is a tried and trusted product. So we anticipate that Posh Pony customers will recommend our treat to fellow equestrians.
We will be having 2 size options for our treats, the first being an 18 count for $16 and also a 36 count for $30. This allows our customers to try out our smaller option before realizing how much they love it and then repurchasing in the bulk option. All of our main competition hold a fairly equal market share, the one most similar to us being Snacks with Avenue because of their visual appeal. However, Snacks with Avenue is not organic. They are priced higher than we are, and their treats are sized unrealistically too large, so they have to physically be broken up in order to use, which is a messy and unenjoyable process, and that's why we strategically size our treats to be bite-sized for the horse, making the experience as easy and enjoyable as possible. And then our other 2 main competitions, Stud Muffins and Apple Nuggets, are a step down in terms of quality. Stud Muffins is not organic, nor is it visually appealing, and Apple Nuggets has a very extensive ingredient list full of things that you will not recognize and that could be potentially harmful to the horse. And yes, these last 2 options are more cheap for the buyer. However, when you take into account the visual appeal and health benefits from our treats, we're the clear best option.
As Ellie mentioned, when we look at our ingredients versus Apple Nuggets, when you compare them side by side, the Posh Pony values simplicity and organics compared to our competition.
So to reiterate, we are the #1 horse treat company on the market in terms of quality, and we are slightly better priced than our main competition, Snacks with Avenue.
When taking a look at our year 1 profit and loss statement, we make a revenue of just shy of $70,000, and when we take out our expenses, we have a net profit of $21,208, and you can view all of this on page 2 of your handout. And when we look at our expenses further, they can be split into 2 categories of fixed and variable costs. Our fixed costs are marketing, salaries, and website development and maintenance costs, and our variable cost is ingredients.
So Sharks, also on page 2 of your handout, we have the profit margins on our 18 count is 60%, and the profit margins on our 36 count is 57%. Going further into our 3-year projections, like Laura said, year 1, we anticipate a net profit of about $21,000, growing each year due to both our marketing as well as growing our brand recognition. The biggest numbers that would jump out to you would be this shift between year 2 and year 3, and that's because at the end of year 2, we anticipate reaching capacity in how many treats we can make in-house. That will lead us to outsourcing our manufacturing to an industrialized kitchen where we will be hiring 2 employees to help us fulfill demand. Therefore, our expenses will increase due to rent and salaries that we will be paying our employees. But our sales will also increase because we will be able to produce more and therefore reach more consumers.
Our end value for you investors for Sharks, which is what you would be thinking about most, by year 3 it would have almost tripled our ask.
And now looking further ahead into year 4 and year 5, we looked at this from a conservative standpoint, an actual standpoint, and then an optimistic standpoint. Conservatively, we were taking into account that there would be market shifts, so we were a little less generous with our numbers. Then when we looked at it from an actual standpoint, we followed our trend from year 1 through 3 and expected how our marketing would increase our sales, as well as our growth in brand recognition and repurchases. Year 3, we did the same as year 2, but we also took into account our goal of partnering with horse stores nationwide to help further our physical reach. Because right now our reach would only be online, but if we partner with physical stores, we would be able to allow our customers to interact with our treats.
Again, Sharks, to clarify, these are in pages 4 and 5 for your 4 and 5 protections. So Sharks, what kind of company would we be if we didn't give back to where we started? Starting in years 4 and 5, we plan to give 5% of our profits to therapeutic riding programs such as We Can Ride. And we are also in the process of consulting with Dan's vets at Cleary Lake Veterinary Hospital and his nutritionist in ensuring that our treat is the most nutritious, most beneficial, and most appealing to horse owners on the market.
So Sharks, you've seen our product, you've heard us talk about it, and now we want to show you what it looks like in action. Thank you, Mr. Ridley.
Posh Pony from the small business it already is today.
Sharks, thank you so much for your time and listening to our pitch.
And Sharks, we have one final question for you. Are you ready to saddle up with the Posh Pony?
Great job. Can you, two things, can you just go over again your different profits over the 18 and the 36?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Our profit margins.
Yeah.
So for our 36 count, we have a 57% profit margin, and our 18 count is a 60%.
60, did you say?
60, yes.
Okay.
So that's to entice our customers to repurchase and buy in bulk, because that gives them somewhat of a deal.
Got it. Totally what I want to get my head around first. So this brings me to my question.
Yes.
Help me understand the demand. Like I have a dog, and I know how many treats I give a dog.
Yes.
So how many of these will Dan go through? So a bag of 18, is that like an afternoon thing, or is that like a week?
Some days. So that would probably, an 18 would probably last about 2 to 3 weeks. It varies per owner, but I personally give Dan 1 to 2 a day. It could be a reward after a hard workout, but many equestrians use them. Varying.
So, and that's just one horse, right?
Yes.
So one horse, you think 18 bag is 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I was definitely wondering how much money a horse owner would go through in treats. So that is, and your profit margins are absolutely enviable. So that's a great place. Could you tell us a little bit about the competitor? Probably the best one would be Snack, Fizz, and Chew. Right, and Chew. So how big are they? Because they're already in the space. When did they enter? How big are they now? I'm just trying to get a sense for how hard is it to get into this space.
So there are, overall, there's not, maybe shy of 20 horse treat companies. So there aren't that many. And Snacks with Avenue is already in tack stores, or the horse stores, as Allie mentioned. So that they are established, but they haven't been, I think, since 2016. I do not, but I know they still produce in-house. So it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for their treats to be shipped out once you place an order, which is a big time.
It's another disadvantage to them, as well as their size, which we beat them on.
So you're thinking they're big and yet
As far as I can tell from doing research, yes.
Okay.
So you identified your customers, and you've got, I can't remember their names, the one woman and then the woman and the daughter.
Yes.
Well, you've already done some of this marketing, it sounds like. You've already made the product, you've had it out there. How are they responding? How are they versus Dan?
Yes, well, obviously the horses love the treats. It tastes very yummy to them. And of course, we get excited over very simple things, as a lot of us do. And the idea of having a mini donut to give to our horse, Dan knows the phrase, "Do you want a donut?" So it just makes it much more personal, and we just make so much more of a connection to it. So it just makes it so much more enjoyable for us.
Have you heard anything from those customers?
Yes. Yeah, they're really satisfied with it and they really enjoy it, and it's been human tested too because they are human ingredients, so they can enjoy it as well if they really want to.
And we do have about 20 customers currently at Laura's Barn, and then 30 more outside. So it is a real business, and we just want to grow it from here.
So I'm going to age myself a little bit, and this reference might be lost on some of you, but there's this iconic Saturday Night Live skit where Will Ferrell is in a band and he plays a cowbell. And the producer keeps stopping him and saying, I need more cowbell. I need more organic treats. Do dogs eat these? Will cats eat these? Will hedgehogs eat these? Will gerbils eat these?
We haven't.
Can you expand your product line? Well, but can they modify it? You get the gist. Will other can you expand your market beyond horses?
Yes, obviously we have to do the research to find out what is safe for dogs versus horses, because obviously I'm not sure if dogs have molasses, but horses adore it. So I think we definitely could, and we could branch out into other pet animal areas. And we've also been talking, I don't know if you've heard of Fidley's Dog Treats. They actually recently spoke to my mother's company, Target, and my mother approached them, and at the end we got a business card from them to contact them for further discussions. Yes.
Great job, good presentation. Being a finance guy, let me ask a finance question. I mean, and I'm impressed with your financials, by the way. It seems like you've thought this through quite well. But walk me through, I give you $10,000, and in 3 years, you said my return, $36,445. Is that cash back in my pocket? Is that the value of my investment? How did you come up with that number? Can you give me a little more detail there?
Yeah, that would be the value of your investment, because that would be 10% of our total profits at the end of year 3. So you will have more than tripled your original investment there. And then from year 4 and year 5, it will grow substantially after that. Is that for the
Am I getting paid those? Are you sending me a check for that?
That is your in-pocket cash.
Okay. Okay. Those are my distributions, and then yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're asking for a total of $80,000 for 12% equity in our company, and by our estimations, you should receive a return on investment of 314%. And we're going to start off by introducing our team. My name is Kale Pepper, and I'm the Director of Marketing Projections for Safe Stuff.
I'm Lauren Benoit, and I'm the Director of Operations and Management. And I'm Ali Chen, and I'm the Director of Competition and Financials.
And you see each of our dogs, our illustrations. My name is Chewy, or my dog's name is Chewy, on the left, he's a mini Golden Doodle.
My dog is Elliot, he's in the middle, and he's a Bernese Mountain Dog.
And my dog's on the right, her name is Bailey, and she's Havanese.
Alright, Safe Stuffing story begins with my dog, Elliot. He's a very lovable and loyal dog, but he is also very mischievous. In this picture, you can see a seal, and within 30 seconds, his face was ripped off, which leads into several problems, including last year when he became very sick. He lost about 7 pounds and wasn't eating, wasn't drinking. He started to throw up, so we brought him to the vet. They gave him an x-ray and found out that he had an obstructional blockage with stuffing in his stomach, and they had to have emergency surgery. They said he might not survive because he was so sick. Luckily he did, but he ended up having a 6-inch scar on his stomach and 4 long weeks of recovery in front of him, which led us to the creation of our company.
So as Lauren mentioned, the problem is that when dogs play with toys and they rip them up, the stuffing, they'll either intentionally or unintentionally, they will eat it, which is a huge problem because it either gets stuck, it could get stuck in their large intestine or their small intestine, which can cause a variety of health issues. And the solution for this is because the dogs are eating stuffing like this, the emergency surgery, as mentioned, can cost anywhere from $2,500 to a total of $7,000. And we think it's just crazy how a $12 dog toy such as this can cause up to $7,000 in damage for your dog. So we thought there has to be a way to solve this problem.
And so here was our solution. We wanted to create a dog toy with an outer layer of fabric, and inside
there'd be stuffing made from tapioca, and this would be completely edible. Kayla's now going to have a demonstration here. So there's this glass pitcher with water inside, and this would act as our stomach acid. And we also have this white cotton candy that will act as our stuffing. And so when he puts that cotton candy into the water, you can see it completely dissolves. And this is exactly how our stuffing will dissolve in a dog's stomach acid.
All right, this product led to our company DVP, which is Protect Your Pup with the only dog toys made from digestible, natural, and safe stuffing. So our customers really know that our priority is the safety of their dogs.
So here are our competitors. So from this positioning map, you can see our first one is Bark and Buddha, and they make bones for their dogs. We also have City Paws, which is the #1 dog toy seller on Amazon. We also have Calm, which is hard rubber toys for the dogs. And finally, we have Target, and they make tennis balls and tennis ball throwers. However, we have no direct competition, and here's why.
So why are we unique from our competitors? First and foremost, we are the only toy on the market that has digestible stuffing in case your dog does eat the stuffing. Really fun. Second, it is biodegradable, which goes along with the digestible part. And finally, our company is built on a personal story, and we hope to make personal connections with our customers, which is also a strategy we need within our marketing. And as I said, we're moving right into our marketing section. Now, the total dog toy industry is valued at $750 million, and has a 4% annual growth rate every year. So obviously this is just a huge market, and if we can only manage to corner 1% of this market, it can equal $7.5 million in revenue for our company. In addition to this, there's a very low barrier of entry into this market. So if we,
All right, moving into our target market, we're going to target millennials because they have been shown in studies and from our research to be willing to spend a little bit extra on their dogs compared to other generations. Within that category, our ideal customer is Kyle. He's 32 years old. He's married with no kids and makes a little bit more money than some millennials. For these reasons, he's our ideal customer because he's in our age range and he has a little bit more disposable income to spend on his dog. Our ideal consumer is Finn. He's a 2-year-old golden retriever, and like most dogs, he's very good, but he likes to destroy plush toys and will eat everything inside of them.
So the overall brand image that we wish to portray for Safe Stuffing is that we are a local company built on all natural ingredients. And the comparison that we would like to make is that we are the Caribou Coffee of dog toys. So we began by distributing only into the Minnesota area, and then once we get a good feel of our market and our product and our business, then we move on to selling into the entirety of the Midwest. And this is because in our research we found that people in the Midwest spend more on their dogs and on their dog toys than anywhere else in the United States.
So let's go on to our manufacturing processes. So one of our expenses is manufacturing markup. So we will hire a manufacturer rep, and they will help us with, so they will look at manufacturers and see which one can produce each unit at the lowest cost possible. They will also help us with branding, and they have connections to retail stores such as PetSmart and Petco, stuff like that, and they can help put our products onto their shelves. So here's a map. We'll begin producing in Thailand, and this is because our main ingredient in our stuffing is tapioca starch, and Thailand is the #1 producer of that. So then we will ship it to ports in California, and then take a truck up to our warehouses in Minnesota to distributors.
And then moving on to our marketing section. Because our target market is millennials, we will mostly be marketing online and on social media such as Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, since that's where most millennials connect with businesses in this age. In addition to this, we understand that when customers are looking for a dog toy, they're not necessarily looking for one that's digestible or biodegradable. We're looking for the ones at the lowest price. So we will also utilize search engine optimization so that our website will come up above those of our competitors on search engines.
To distribute and market, we will have 2 main ways within our distribution. We'll go through Chuck and Don's, a local pet store, and PetSmart, a globally known pet store, where we will distribute, and also customers will be able to see our product on the shelves, and we'll have promotions within those stores. We will also distribute on our website and advertise through a blog to let customers know about our company. Finally, moving on to financials, here's some numbers to the sharks. And our first year, we're expected to sell around 5,500 units. We're going to have a 3-month ramp time where we're just going to develop our product and not worry about selling at all, which is built into the financials. Then at $12 per toy, which is less than most of our competitors, we will have a $7.23 profit margin. And in the first year, we'll be losing around $6,500.
So moving on to our 3-year projections. So as Lauren said, we lose around $6,500 in our first year, but we will become highly profitable by our second and third years. So in the dark blue, you can see our income before tax. That is around 30 to 40% of our total net sales. So moving on to our 5-year projections, we took a look at our projections from a conservative, a likely, and an aggressive standpoint. So from our conservative standpoint, we have a growth rate of an estimated 25%, and so we just have organic growth in our current market. We do not penetrate new markets, we do not add other revenue streams. We also took a look at our likely projections. That would be around 50% growth rate, and we add new revenue streams. So we could take our stuffing and sell it B2B, so we could sell it to other dog toy companies. And from an aggressive standpoint, that would be 100% growth rate, and we'd add new revenue streams, not only to dog toy companies, but also to children's toy companies as well. And we could also expand to major department stores such as Walmart and Target. So here are expenses for 2020, our first year of operations. I broke this down into one-time costs and monthly costs. So our one-time costs included website design, contingencies reserved for any emergencies. We'd be hiring a food scientist to check the edibility of our stuffing, and we'd be also issuing patents. For monthly costs, that will include warehousing, transportation, labor. So we will hire part-time employees into our warehouses to ship out our products to our customers, and our manufacturing markup, which I talked about before, and it's 20% of our total net sales. And 16% also is to advertising and marketing. Again, Sharks, we are seeking $80,000 for a 12% stake in our company. You can see that we are cash flow positive by our second month of our second year of our operations. With year 3 net sales, we have a projected $860,000 with a very conservative revenue multiple of only 2. Our total enterprise value would be around $1.7 million. Our cash, which includes all of our investments into the company, so a total of $15,000 added on to our income before tax for all of our 3 years of projections, that would be $375,000 for you. And then we have TEV plus cash would be over $2 million. So Sharks, if you invest 12% into our company, you would get $250,000 out of this investment, and that is great. So your multiple upon your initial investment is a whopping 3.14. So Sharks, if you take a bite into our idea, we promise you won't get a stomachache.
It's some digestible food for thought.
And now it's time for you to chew over this investment. Thank you very much.
Thank
Great job. It's a fun idea. I have 2 questions, but I only get to ask one. So someone asked one about research. So you mentioned Chuck and Don's as a retailer. In your research, have you contacted or spoken to Chuck and Don's or any retailer of these type of products to say, is this something that you think your customers would be interested in? Or just tell me what type of research you've done to determine that there's a demand for this product.
Yeah, so for originally when we wanted to figure out if this was even a viable product, if people would buy it, we started asking around our community because that's the community area where we'll first distribute. And we talked to at least like over 100 people that were like, this is a really great idea. In the last round, even one of the judges mentioned how they would be willing to spend $12 because they had a similar experience as what my dog had. And then when we were looking at stores to distribute, we looked at Chuck and Don's mostly because they have a lot of natural and local products, and also there's one right down the road, right by the Chipotle and Target, and we thought they would be a good fit because they do a lot of promotions of this is the treat of the week, or here's a sample of these different products, so we can really advertise to our local community without having to do a ton of effort ourselves.
Okay, thank you.
Great job. I love the fact that you thought about alternate revenue sources. And you mentioned real briefly B2B, right? And you mentioned a patent. So you're going to have intellectual property. tell me a little bit about who you anticipate targeting and what percent of your total revenue in years 4 or 5 might come from a B2B source versus selling actual products that you have to manufacture.
Alright, so when we're going to target companies like, for example, ones that are selling on Amazon, once we have a patent, because we don't want to start off at Amazon because they have been known to take small businesses, create a similar product, use predatory pricing, and completely become bankrupt. So we're not going to start there, but once we have a patent, as you mentioned, and we're protected, we sell to companies that are selling on Amazon because they are selling a large quantity. And we haven't had a direct estimate about our 4 or 5 years because it's not for sure what year we start in, but we try to get at least 30% by our 4th year.
I'm going to build on that a little bit. So at some point, you're intending to sell at the retail level in box stores, basically. And have you thought about what that's going to do to your pricing structure? Will your suggested retail price change, or how will you sell into those stores? And what does that do to your margins?
So for those retail stores, they would take around 40 to 50% of our so our profit margins would decrease by about 50%. That's what we might expect. However, with those retail stores, they do sell, or they do buy toys in bulk. So they will definitely buy more of our products, and that will compensate for the fact that our profit margins will be a little bit lower.
Is that reflected in your projections at this point, that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Okay, so I have 2 dogs, both of which had surgery today, not for this, but I'm totally sold on this being there being a market for this. Now I am totally intrigued with, help me understand how you're actually going to develop your product. You've got, I want to hear about a whole toy view, because you've got cloth on the outside. My dogs eat everything. They eat the tennis balls. Like, they'll start at the outside and they'll eat all the stuff on the end. They'll eat the rubber in there. They'll take a toy like that. There won't be much left of it by the time they're done. Little pieces all over the floor. So help me understand a whole toy view, and then help me understand what you're actually thinking is your unique product in that whole toy, because it's not the design, it's actually the stuffing and perhaps the outside of that. And what do you think you can protect in there? Because otherwise you've got, like a really good idea that everybody else can copy really fast. So help me understand that, okay?
Right, so our product is the stuffing inside the toy. However, when we were making the entire toy, we would make the outer layer of fabric, but we would infuse some kind of deterrent so that the dog would not like to eat that toy. It wouldn't be anything like too strong that you could like sense or smell or anything, but it would dissuade dogs from eating the outside because our product is what's inside. And in our research, we found that the dogs will tend to only eat the inside. But the point of our product is not that your dog should eat the inside, but rather if or when it does happen, it is completely okay.
And also to make our toy that makes it unique and patentable is we are making something out of tapioca, which we've done through a lot of research, and it is already been used to make plastic bags that are on the market, which we saw in one of our first slides, and it is being created into plastic. So we're going to hire a food scientist to work with us to develop that toy in our first 3-month ramp time to make sure it is edible and then get a patent on that.
So your patent is a use patent, like the first time the tapioca is used inside of a dog toy?
Yeah.
Or is it something about what you do to the tapioca in order to make it stuffing?
We're going to focus on like the patent of the actual stuffing, so no one can copy our stuffing specifically, because tapioca hasn't been used in any of the markets like stuffing before. So we think as long as we get there first and no one gets it out before we put it on the market, then we should be fine, because it is a unique idea, and as mentioned before, there is no edible stuffing or digestible stuffing.
Totally sold. I mean, you told me how much it costs for surgery, and everyone who's been through it going to buy it. I think I'm picking up on Troy and Pam. You're really excited about, in the event that happens, they're going to eat this. Like, well, maybe your business is a patent on the stuffing that you go sell to someone who's making pillows and other things that animal might eat in the house. But that's not what you're selling. So you're walking in and you're selling me a line of toys, and by the way, in the event the dog eats it, but we hope you don't, it's fine. So let's just say you walk to my office right now and, okay, I'm sold on the stuffing. Tell me anything about your line of toys but the stuffing. I want to hear. Are they long, skinny? Is it a dog? Is it a horse? Is it a cow? Like, what's unique about your line other than the stuffing?
Oh, yeah, so as you mentioned before, we will be exploring several different revenue streams. So while we're initially starting off with our stuffing in the dog toys, as you saw in our aggressive projections and our likely projections, we will be expanding into other markets, such as like children's toys, where it's completely fine if they eat it as well. As you mentioned, pillows and stuff like that, mattresses, we can also stuff it with things like that.
And then also for a specific toy, Kong makes toys, which is actually an example like this, where they are double sewed on the seams, so we will continue with that as well, because that is where Kong is succeeding in their toys and would distribute them, so why can't we copy that? Because mostly it's the stuffing, as you can see, where my dog actually ripped apart this toy, where it's not on the seams. So we're also going to make sure it's not going to have any hard like eyeballs or any beads that they can swallow, so that will be a point of differentiation over some other toys. And then we're also just going to focus on the actual materials with a strong quality as well.
Thank you very much.
We want to thank all of our teams, our judges. We'll now take about 20 minutes to deliberate, and we'll come back and announce their decision.
Now we devised themes to incorporate a little corny humor, and you all did that, which was really fun. So I have the honor of announcing our People's Choice Award, and then I'm going to hand it off to Nancy, who's going to announce our runner-up and the winners for this contest. And the winner of the People's Choice Award, which the prize is lunch at any restaurant of your choice called Ike's, Mr. Harris. And the is Posh Pony.
Okay, so this is a great pleasure for me because, by the way, you guys, you were awesome. But I probably personally read 200 to 300 business plans a year, and I wish half of them were half as good as yours, right? Because some of them are just horrible. Those are adults writing those plans. You guys did a great job. And we had a tough job as judges, and we had some arm wrestling and some arguments and some almost fisticuffs on this, so it was really, really close. And by the way, the presentations were great. Really good job. You guys just have great futures in front of you. So without further ado, the runner-up, Pork to Farm. We were really impressed with your financials, and we hope you turn this into a business. It is a worthy problem to go solve. Great job. Okay, drum roll. And the winner is Posh Pony. Dog treats really soon. I don't have outdoors.
I think those are right there. I think the first place is there.
Oh. There you go. Yeah.
We just want to wrap this up by thanking you all for coming out here tonight. It was a wonderful night and a great experience for our students and a lot of fun to watch. It's great plans. So thanks again for coming out.
Students.